So it's been about 5 years since I stopped going to college. And it's kind of a weird thing to think about now because it's been so long since I even thought about going to school. But I still get a ton of questions from people like you guys and people on my Instagram that ask me like, hey Julian, I'm thinking about becoming a filmmaker or photographer or going into business. I'm in school right now. What do you think I should do? So that's what I want to talk about inside of this video, because the funny thing is that me at my position right now, I'm an entrepreneur. I run my own business. All my friends do the same exact thing. So in my circle of influence, this isn't even something that comes up as a topic anymore. And it's something that I used to think about a lot more when I was younger, and also probably in the same age range as most people who are asking me these questions. But what I realize is that I'm so isolated from most of society because I live here in Bali again with a bunch of entrepreneurs, but most people are still going to school, they're still going to college, and they're wondering if this is the right choice for them. So in this video, I just want to give you guys my opinion, what I think. Again, take this with a grain of salt because this is only my opinion and everyone's situation is unique. So I'm not sure, how this applies to you, but hopefully these thoughts can give you some value and help you make your decision, because I do feel very strongly about a few certain things. So it's been about 5 years again since I dropped out of school. And when I say dropped out, I actually didn't mean to drop out. I was planning to go back to school. So what happened was I was in college and I essentially noticed that every single person I talked to when I was walking around campus had no idea what they were doing with their lives, okay? Every single person I talked to, I'd walk up to people and ask them, what are you doing? What are you studying? What's your plan for the future? And people would be like, I don't know. I'm just, doing my general education. I'm really trying to figure it out. I'm like, wow, these people are like 20, 21 years old, and they have absolutely no direction in life. And I can't really say that I knew any better than they did, but what I did notice is that people never really seemed to figure it out. And these same people that were so indecisive in what they wanted to do with their lives, they continued down that path for a very long time. And I wanted to make sure that that didn't happen to me. So what me and my friend Mitch made the choice to do was just something completely different, something completely random. And we actually decided to move to China and I guess do the typical, like, I'm gonna travel and, find myself type of thing, right? So that's what we did. We moved to China and we didn't just go for like a 2-week vacation. We moved there and we went to go teach English. And our plan was to stay for at least 6 months with the goal of hopefully traveling the world, visiting many other countries for at least a few years, and just really exploring different cultures and different experiences to figure out what we wanted to do with our lives on this planet. So that's when we dropped out of school, we left, and little did I know that that trip was going to lead to me picking up a camera, just like I'm on filming right here, and getting into filmmaking and photography, leading me down that path, and having filmmaking and photography lead me into entrepreneurship and online business and back here to Bali. I didn't know that that was gonna happen. So what I said was, I'm gonna go I'm gonna take a break for a year, go to China, and I'll come back and get my master's degree in business, because at that point, I still thought that having a degree would be pretty helpful. So what happened was I moved to China and I started teaching English. I had a job, it was cool. I was doing a regular, 9-to-5 job, working as an English teacher. And then I got into filmmaking and photography. Now, that is when everything changed. You see, once I started working as a filmmaker and a photographer, I realized that, the industry doesn't care if you have a degree or not. They just care about your work. So when I saw that there was opportunity for me to travel and make money and work as a freelancer, solely based off the fact of how good I was, that is all I focused on, was getting better at filmmaking and photography. And at that point, that's when I really stopped thinking about going back to school. Up until that point, I was still thinking about going back to school, finishing my degree, maybe getting into real estate or something like that. But once I got into filmmaking and photography, everything changed, because I realized that this industry doesn't care about your diploma, they just care about your results. So I took it very seriously, and I practiced, I got better every single day, and within less than a few months, I was essentially traveling the world, working with clients, working with different brands. And what I realized through that entire experience was that you don't need school to learn a new skill, and you can actually teach yourself things much faster than the school system can teach you. And that is when I made the decision consciously to not go back to school and actually pursue self-learning. Because I think a lot of people have the misconception that when you drop out of school, you stop learning. And in my experience, it's actually been quite the opposite. You see, when I was in school, I didn't really like the stuff that they were teaching me. And now that I'm out of school, I get to choose what I want to learn every single day and actually learn about topics that I like filmmaking and photography, marketing, online business, copywriting, sales, like topics that are actually useful in this competitive space that we're in inside a business, right? Skills that actually apply to me. Now, I understand that there are certain industries like, being a doctor, being an accountant, you have to go to school for those things. But inside of today's world, there are so many industries where people are starting to care less and less about the degree that you have and more about the results that you get. And I think that when our parents went to school back in, the 60s, 70s, whatever, a degree was actually worth a lot more than it is today. And ironically, degrees have gotten more expensive today than they were back then. Because back then the population was a lot smaller, there was less competition, and when you graduated with a degree, you were actually guaranteed some type of work. Whereas today, you have to graduate with a degree and you still have to compete against a massive market and show people that you can provide better results than your competition. So what I have to say to all of you guys that are asking me and sending me messages, Julian, I'm in school, should I stay in school, should I not stay in school? Ask yourself, is the industry that you want to get into results-based or diploma-based? Okay? Once you answer that question, ask yourself, am I the type of person that is able to get results, right? Am I disciplined enough to teach myself new things? This is also a problem. A lot of people don't have the discipline to actually go and teach themselves new skills. People think that after they graduate, they can essentially stop learning, which is not the case at all if you want to have any chance of succeeding in life. I can tell you that in business and entrepreneurship, you have to be learning every single day to stay ahead of the competition, because if not, you're going to get eaten alive. And if you don't want to do that, then stay in school. Go down the safe route. Get your $60,000 per year if that makes you happy. But if you're anything like me, I don't really want to know how much I'm going to make in 5 years. I don't want to know how much I'm going to make in 10 years. I want to know is what opportunity and potential I can hit in 5 years and 10 years. And that's really high. I set the bar really high for myself. So that's what excites me. That's what keeps me going. And I don't think like a college diploma is going to stop me from hitting any of those goals. So that's why I decided not to go to school, because I feel like I can do a better job teaching myself. But for those of you guys that are in school, think about it. This is just my 2 cents, and this is why I decided to stop going to school, because it's not really required in my industry. And I've noticed that I can just perform at a higher level doing things myself. So hopefully that helps you guys out. That's pretty much the end of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.